guys, so it's the end of the day, and this is the hair. I'm really not sure what to make of it. The hairdresser was really lovely. As you know, it wasn't my usual hairdresser that I've gone to for years and years and years, because my usual one closed down for the pandemic, sorry, birds playing up, and didn't reopen. So I had to go to a new place, which is always a bit nerve-wracking. You never know whether they're going to get you or not. And of course I've got this to contend with. So I went in there saying, look, you know, I need something doing. And she said, she had a long look at my hair. I had washed it and let it dry naturally this morning so she could have a good look and see what it did. And it was very frizzy. And she said to me, you're going to have to choose between length or straightness. Because to make your hair straight, we would need to cut your hair really very short, because the abuse it would have to take to make it stay straight just would not be good for your hair. It's just going to keep breaking off. I've got very fine hair, even though it's curly, it's very fine. I've got quite a lot of it, but it's very fine, it breaks easily. And that action of blow drying, you know, when you get the hairdryer on it and you start doing this with the brush, is breaking the hair. Because it is so curly, I can't just sort of do a couple of passes. I've got to really go at it to try and get it straight. So I had a little think about it and I decided I would prefer length and health to straightness. It's a bit of a shock, you know, guys. When I was a teenager, I can remember learning what suited me, how to do my hair, how to make myself look kind of the best that I could. And, you know, I made lots of mistakes. I think like most of us, you know, makeup that I look back on now and I think, oh my goodness, what was I thinking of? And hairstyles and colours and yeah, all that sort of thing. I wasn't expecting to have to do it again at my age. And I mean, this literally happened with menopause. People think I'm mad when I say that, but honestly, this happened with menopause. So some change in hormones or chemicals or something. I mean, I had a little bit of a wave in my hair, but it was so fractional. And now, you know, I mean, if I come in close, you can see it is really curly. And in fact, once this gets wet, I mean, she has worked this to sort of release the curls a bit. When it gets wet, I get all ringlets and all sorts going on. So it's very weird having to sort of figure myself out at this age. Another thing that I've got to figure out. I'm going to go back next week. She's going to colour my hair. I showed her the kind of colours that I like. And she was a bit, I think she's frightened that if she did what I said, that I would then say, oh my God, it's too whatever. She doesn't know me well enough yet. And I can understand that. So she said, you know, we found a compromise and we'll do that. And she said, you know, and then if you do still want to put, you know, other lights, copper or whatever other colours into it, we can do highlights and slices and sections in the future. So I think that's fair enough. I like the fact that she was really straight with me about my hair. And I know she's right. I know it is very fine. It's always been very fine, my hair. So I've just got to learn how to rock this. We had to cut quite a bit off to get the health in. Of course, it's longer than that, but it pings up. So yeah, it's going to be a process, I think, over the next, I don't know, 6 months, 12 months, maybe, as much as 12 months, to get it right. Funnily enough, she liked the way I'd done my fringe. She said I'd actually done a pretty good job considering I'm not a hairdresser, and it was relatively, you know, straight and as it should be. I think she will improve it in time, but she needs it to grow a bit before she plays with it too much. Again, she was a bit scared because I've got a big cow's lick here. So this bit always wants to wing off or, you know. But yeah, really nice lady, and I've just got to get over. I went in there with an image in my head of how I wanted my hair to look, and the truth is my hair just can't look like that. I mean, we could do it and it would look like that today and it would look like that for the next X number of weeks, but because I'd have to abuse it so hard to get it virtually straight, it would all start breaking and snapping and look dreadful. So hey ho, I've got to get used to a new way of being. Since I came back, I have been spending time with my mum, who still has that cold, but has actually got worse. She is such a stubborn woman. Oh, she gets an illness, and the minute she starts to feel better, she starts running around all over the place and doing things, and, you know, and I'm wandering along behind going, Mum, you should be resting, you should be resting. And she doesn't listen, and then, of course, she gets really poorly, and she is really poorly at the moment. My mum is a diabetic, type 2 diabetic. and she's really frightened of the diabetes. Her father was a type 1 diabetic, which I always say to her is so, so different. And of course, we're talking a long time ago, but he lost both of his legs before I was born, so over 50 years ago. And medication was different, monitoring was different, and more than anything else, my mum will have the occasional glass of wine, but he was a drinker, and I mean drinker with a capital D. He was not a very nice man, which is an awful thing to say about family, but it's true. So I keep telling her, you know, she doesn't need to be frightened, but she is. And as a consequence, she is so strict with what she will eat and what she won't eat that there is more fat on a chip than on my mother. So if she becomes unwell in any way and her appetite sort of fades, she literally begins to look awful. Terribly thin. She has no reserves. And the other thing is she had her gallbladder out a few years ago, about I want to say 3 years ago maybe, and so she's really, really sensitive to fatty foods, because, you know, you've got to keep the sugar down if you're a diabetic. So, you know, it'd be nice if she could eat some fatty foods, but she can't eat fatty foods because of her gallbladder, and so she is, yeah, borderline, you know, much too thin. And whenever she becomes unwell with a cold or whatever, she's got a very sensitive stomach, so she starts being sick. So today has been a day of my mother not eating and being sick. So I had to go in and give her a bloody good talking to. It's pointless, really. I don't know why I bother, because, you know, our older generation, they sit there and they go, yes, dear. Yeah, oh, you're right, dear. Oh, I know, dear. And then they go their own sweet bloody way. But I will keep trying, and I've told her I will be cooking her custards and things like that, and she has to eat it. And if that means she has to up her insulin by a tiny smidge, then that is fine by me, because she needs to get through this and sort of treat herself as an invalid a little bit, you know, convalesce a little bit. So, yeah, she's been a bit of a pain and a bit of a worry. Yeah, a bit of a worry. I don't like to see her like this. Yeah. It's a funny day. It is a funny day. I'm still pleased I got my hair done, but a bit disappointed that I can't have it the way I'd like it. But then we all want what we haven't got. Anyway, so I promised to show you the horses. Well, the animals. And I've decided today to do the horses because I don't want these to be epic videos. And I'm afraid they might be, because I'm chuntering away. And I wasn't even given any questions. I asked you guys to put questions in the comments, and you bloody well didn't. Oh, see, I'm on a fierce telling everyone off today. So I'll show you the horses, because it's dry and it's quite a nice day. Because horses in the rain, that's not a good thing to see. And I have too many animals to do them in one video. So the next one will probably be the goats and the birds, the chickens and the ducks and things like that. But I thought I'll get the horses out of the way and give you a little bit of their backstory while the sun is shining and they're looking reasonable. I think they're a bit muddy, you know, they've been out there having fun, rolling and all that sort of thing, but not on a wet day, dear me. They look dreadful. So that's it, the horses. Okay, this is Dora. Dora is a pony, about 14 hands, 13 hands I would say. We've had her for years now. She was brought in as a companion. She was supposed to be an old horse, old pony, at sort of the end of her days, and she was brought in as a companion to my daughters, and she looked fat and plumptious and had her rug on. And we'd had her 2 days and she dropped a foal. So this is Aurora. This is our baby. We bred her here. She is now 2.5. She's buckskin. She is the gentlest thing. Aurora, because she has never experienced, you know, a bad time or difficulties. She's never seen human beings be horrible. In the background there, can you see, that is Stella. That is her mother. Stella's father was a drum horse. If you ever see things like Trooping the Colour or whatever over here, and you see the guy with the great big drums on it, that's what her father was. Stella's had a really rotten time of it. She was a breeding machine for a stud. She was flown abroad and had foals, and the minute they could take the foals away, they did. And eventually, through sort of neglect, she developed a form of mastitis. And it means that only one or two of her teats, hello Aurora, only one or two of her teats work. So at that point she became useless to the stud, and they were going to put her down. And my daughter had come to me and said, can we get a mum? And I said no. I said, we're at capacity, I really don't want another problem horse. But the day that my grandson was born, I came back here to pick up some things from the hospital, and there Stella was. I thought it was quite funny at the time because my mum said, oh boy, Danny's looking well. And I said, oh Christ, Danny is looking well, considering that's not Danny. Jay knew that I just wouldn't be able to resist. So we got her, and after a little while we allowed her to have a foal, which is Aurora. It's the only time we'll ever breed from her, but my daughter wanted a replacement horse, wanted to breed one of her own. And Stella gets, finally, after all these babies she's had for other people, finally gets to stay with her baby for the rest of her life. They will be together, and you know, nothing will change. How you doing, Stell? Ooh, Stell's got a bit of a limp. You're limping again, Stelly girl. Stella's not very friendly. It's no surprise the way she's been treated. I mean, it's appalling really what we do to animals. But she's coming round to us. I mean, it's been a few years. And she's better. She's a lot better than ever she was. She hates being in a stable. You couldn't ride her. She would be terrifically dangerous to try and ride. So she doesn't have a use other than as a, you know, breeding machine, as a broodmare, and that's not something we're willing to do. Anyone that comes here gets a lifetime home. This is the horse that started it all. This is Danny. His real name is Dancing Star. Hey Dan. I bought him for my daughter when she was 13. She was horse mad and also beginning to be boy mad. And I decided the best thing to do was to get her own horse. This is Dan. So she did lots of competitions and show jumping and all sorts of things with him. But as you can appreciate, we've had him 15 years and he was about 9, I think, when we got him. So he's an old boy now. And that's the whole idea of breeding Aurora. So Dan can retire. He is perfectly safe to ride. Friendliest horse, except if you're a vet. If you're a vet, he'll try to kill you. So much so that the vets won't come here anymore for Danny. Here we have our 2 ponies, which are the boys' ponies, my grandson's ponies. So this one coming straight over, this is my favourite. His name is Dowie. It's Chestnut. He's got so much attitude. He's such a dude. Dowie. Yes, he's such a dude. He's only little, full of attitude, but he is absolutely gorgeous. The little fat dark one there, that's Jojo. The boys fight over who rides Dowie and who rides Jojo. They prefer to ride Dowie. Dowie is the more sort of flashy looking of the 2. If you go around the other side, you can get to it, kids. Jojo has the sweetest nature and actually is a lot faster than Dowie. I mean, is that water running out there? Sorry. Where she goes. Jojo's not the most friendly. She's a Welsh pony. She's not the most friendly. Dowie is incessantly friendly. My daughter, she likes him, but she says he's a D-head. I don't want to say the real word in case I get into trouble, but you know, she says that's because it's his attitude. So that's our little Dowie. She seemed reasonable and she had a rug on and everything, and we brought her, and literally 2 days after we put her into our field, hello Dowie, she dropped a foal, and it was a hell of a shock. And we discovered at that point that she was not an old, tired pony. She was a young, very abused pony. Her baby we called Daisy, or Woolly Bully, but unfortunately we actually lost Daisy. Daisy died of an illness. We were able to ride Dora for a little while the children were, and then we loaned her. She went on loan to someone. It's the only time we've ever done loan, but she went on loan. I don't know what happened when she was on loan, but she became very dangerous. She will now sit down when you're on her back. She'll roll while you're on her back, and obviously, you know, because it's children that would ride her, so she's become very dangerous. She'll rear at you and so on. She's the sweetest natured pony in the world, but just don't try to work her. So they clearly, something went on. So we got her back, and again, she eats, she sleeps, she poos, you know, she's here because she's ours, she's family, and she will stay here. I showed you Aurora and I showed you Stella, didn't I? So that is, and of course there's Danny again. So that is our 6 horses, well, horses and ponies. And of all of them, Danny is the only one that can be ridden, but he's getting very old. And then the beautiful, gorgeous Aurora, who's pointing her bum at us right now, who is only 2. They can be ridden from 2, but it's just not something we're willing to do. We're going to let her become a proper mature lady before we get her broken. Then we have the 2 that we can't do anything with, Dora and Stella, and the 2 little ponies that the boys ride and absolutely adore. So this is one of the fields that they spend time in. It's very boggy in here at the moment because we've had quite a lot of rain. So that's the horses. The sun is shining, they're very happy. They're not so keen on the flies, but they're very happy. So yeah, that's the horses. So we're back. I hope you liked them. I hope you loved them. I hope you'd like to see more of them in the future when we do things with them, when we bring them in and they, you know, they're having their shoes done and all that sort of thing, when we're grooming them, when the boys are riding them. But yeah, that's it. I hope you're all well. I hope you're all better than well. I hope you're feeling fabulous wherever you are. And tomorrow it'll be back to normal with a haul. I already have one filmed. In fact, I have 2 filmed, but I'll put one up tomorrow. Okay guys, I hope this wasn't too boring a video for you because it's really different to what I normally do. Anyway, bye guys, love you. Bert does too.